The Silent Guardian. The void between stars held secrets. Secrets that had kept humanity safe for generations. As the massive Vesh warships slid silently through the darkness toward Helios 9, they believed their prey was defenseless. They were wrong. Admiral Krell stood on the command deck of the Vesh dreadnought Inevitable Conquest, his 4 arms clasped behind his back, chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the purple lights of the bridge. The holographic display showed their target, a small human colony world, rich with resources and positioned at a strategic junction of 3 jump lanes. Status report. Krell's voice rasped through mandibles that clicked with anticipation. 16 warships in formation, Admiral. Weapons primed. No detection of defensive platforms or patrol vessels in the Helios system. The humans appear completely unaware of our approach, his second-in-command reported. Krell's compound eyes reflected the tactical display. The Vesh Empire had conquered 17 species across 3 galactic arms. Humans would be the 18th. Their colonies were scattered, their fleet stretched thin, their technology considered merely adequate. Easy prey. The Council underestimated these primates before, Krell cautioned. They defeated the Mrazic incursion 50 years ago. The Mrazic were primitive, Admiral. We are the Vesh. We have never lost a conquest. Begin the attack sequence. Standard protocol. Warning shot across their main settlement, then demand surrender. No need for unnecessary casualties. They'll be working our mineral extraction facilities by next cycle. On the surface of Helios 9, the human settlement continued its daily routines. 30,000 colonists went about their business under golden skies, the twin suns casting long shadows across the agricultural fields and mining facilities. None noticed the 16 warships that had just emerged from hyperspace on the far side of their moon. Except for one, buried 300 meters beneath the planet's surface, in a bunker whose existence wasn't listed in any colony registry. Communications specialist Maya Okafor sat bolt upright as silent alarms flashed across her monitoring station. Contact, she whispered, then hit the emergency broadcast channel. Stormwatch is active. Repeat, Stormwatch is active. The transmission, encrypted and compressed into a burst transmission lasting less than a microsecond, shot through subspace toward Earth, 40 light-years distant. Commander Ilara Chen stood in the dimly lit war room beneath the Pacific Ocean, her eyes fixed on the holographic projection showing Helios 9 and the encroaching Vesh fleet. Around her, 24 officers from Earth Defense Command sat in stunned silence. So it's finally happening, Admiral Hassan said quietly. The Vesh have decided we're next. Ilara nodded. For 5 years, she had commanded Project Sentinel, a classified initiative that placed covered observers on every human colony. Intelligence suggested that the Vesh Empire had been probing human territories, testing defenses, gathering information. Now they had made their move. Time to contact, she asked. 7 minutes until they're in weapons range of the colony, an analyst reported. Admiral Hassan turned to the gathered officers. The colony has minimal defenses. Standard protocol is evacuation. But there's no time. No, Ilara said, stepping forward. We activate Silent Guardian. The room went silent. Silent Guardian was the contingency plan they had hoped never to use, a last resort defense built in secret over the past decade. Admiral Hassan's eyes widened. The fleet isn't fully tested. The Arcturus battle group is still in final trials. The fleet is ready, Ilara countered. This is precisely the scenario we've been preparing for. Helios 9 appears defenseless by design. The Vesh don't know what's waiting for them. After a moment's hesitation, Admiral Hassan nodded. Initiate Silent Guardian. All hands to battle stations. And may whatever gods still listen protect those colonists until we arrive. Throughout Earth's solar system, hidden facilities sprang to life. In the asteroid belt, massive hangar doors slid open on installations disguised as mining operations. In orbital shipyards camouflaged against Jupiter's storms, crews rushed to their vessels. From Mars to Neptune's moons, humanity's secret fleet prepared for war. On Helios 9, the first Vesh warning shot slammed into the barren plains 10 kilometers from the main settlement, sending plumes of dirt and rock skyward. Colonists poured into the streets, staring in horror at the massive warships now visible in their sky. Governor Imani Cole raced to the colony's modest administrative building, pulse hammering in her throat. As the elected leader of Helios 9, she knew about the hidden bunker and the contingency plans. She also knew that conventional wisdom said help would never arrive in time. The colony's communications array crackled to life with an incoming transmission. A Vesh face filled the screen, mandibles twitching. Human settlement. Admiral Krell began. This is Admiral Krell of the Vesh Dominion. Your world now belongs to the Empire. Surrender and you will be permitted to live as productive subjects. Resist, and we will reduce your settlement to ash. Governor Cole straightened her shoulders, staring into the alien eyes. This is Governor Imani Cole of the Terran Confederation colony Helios 9. We are a peaceful settlement. We have no military. There is no need for violence. Then you will surrender, Krell stated. You have 10 of your minutes to lower your communication barriers and prepare to receive our landing parties. The transmission cut. Governor Cole turned to her security chief, a retired Marine named Jackson. How many weapons do we have? She asked quietly. 20 pulse rifles in the security office. Maybe 100 personal firearms among the colonists. Nothing that can touch those ships. Cole nodded. Start moving people to the emergency shelters. Quietly. Governor, Jackson said hesitantly, you know what happens to colonies that resist the Vesh. Maybe we should. The Vesh enslave every world they conquer, Captain. They work populations to death in mines and factories. No, we follow protocol. We buy time. Above them, the Vesh fleet spread out, entering standard conquest formation, a hemispheric array designed to prevent any escape vessels from leaving the surface. Orbital scans complete. Admiral, Krell's weapons officer reported. No defense grid detected. No military installations. No warships in the system. They are completely vulnerable. Krell felt satisfaction ripple through his body. Another easy conquest for the Empire. The humans had a reputation for being clever, but they had overextended themselves, placing colonies too far from their core worlds to defend properly. Launch landing craft, he ordered. First wave only. Security forces and administrators. Let's make this transition orderly. On his command deck, a junior officer suddenly stiffened. Admiral, spatial distortion detected, bearing 045 by 312. What? Krell turned toward the main view screen. Magnify. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear, like fabric being pulled apart. From the distortion emerged a sleek obsidian vessel unlike any the Vesh had encountered before. It was followed by another. Then 5 more. Then dozens. Impossible, Krell whispered. There were no ships in the system. The first vessel was massive, at least 2 kilometers long, with smooth lines and no visible weapons emplacements. Yet Krell felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. Something was very wrong. A transmission cut through all Vesh frequencies simultaneously, bypassing their encryption as if it didn't exist. Vesh Fleet, this is Commander Ilara Chen of the Terran Confederation Defense Force. You are in violation of sovereign human territory. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Commander Ilara Chen stood on the bridge of the TCS Deterrent, the flagship of humanity's secret fleet. Around her, officers operated consoles with practiced precision, their movements calm despite this being their first actual combat deployment. The dimensional pocket technology had worked perfectly, allowing the entire fleet to remain hidden just microseconds out of phase with normal space, invisible to all sensors yet able to reach Helios 9 almost instantly once activated. Vesh Fleet is reorienting, her tactical officer reported. They're moving to engagement formation. Ilara nodded. They outnumber us 16 to 83. Let's see if they're smart enough to recognize those odds. The response from the Vesh flagship came moments later. Admiral Krell's image appeared on the view screen, his compound eyes narrowing. "Human deception," he said. "Clever. But your ships, however numerous, cannot stand against Vesh firepower. This colony will be ours. Leave now, and perhaps your core worlds will be spared, for a time." Ilara smiled thinly. "Admiral, I'm giving you one opportunity to depart. The Terran Confederation has studied the Vesh Empire for decades. We know your tactics, your weapons capabilities, your weaknesses. We've prepared specifically for this encounter. Threats from a species that has never fought an interstellar war." Krell's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Your confidence is misplaced." "Not confidence, Admiral. Certainty." The transmission cut. On the tactical display, the Vesh warships were moving into an attack pattern, their weapon systems powering up. "All ships, Defense Protocol Theta," Ilara ordered. "Minimal force response only." Throughout the Terran fleet, advanced point defense systems came online. Not a single shot had been fired yet, but every human vessel was prepared for what would come next. The Vesh, predictably, fired first. Energy beams lanced out from the dreadnought and its escorts, targeting the deterrent and the closest human vessels. The shots, powerful enough to cripple most known warships, splashed harmlessly against invisible barriers 2 kilometers from the human ships' hulls. Gravitational deflection fields holding. The defensive systems officer reported. "No damage." Ilara nodded. "Return fire. Target weapon systems only." From recessed compartments in the human vessels, precision weapons deployed. Not the crude energy weapons the galaxy had come to expect from younger species, but something far more elegant. Focused gravitational distortion beams, technology humans had developed in secret, reached out across space. The beams didn't need to penetrate Vesh shields. They simply warped space-time around the targeted weapon emplacements, crushing them with their own mass or tearing them apart at the molecular level. 6 Vesh warships suddenly found themselves without functional weapons. No explosions, no hull breaches, just critical systems reduced to twisted metal. Admiral Krell stared in disbelief at the damage reports flooding his console. "What is this? How are they?" He turned to his weapons officer. "Launch Nova torpedoes. Full spread." The remaining Vesh ships launched their most devastating weapons, miniaturized fusion warheads designed to pierce shields and detonate inside enemy vessels. The human fleet didn't dodge. Instead, small escort craft moved into intercept positions. As the torpedoes approached, they simply disappeared, drawn into what appeared to be microscopic singularities generated by the escort vessels. On the deterrence bridge, Ilara watched calmly as the tactical display updated. "Phase 2, she ordered. "Immobilize their propulsion systems." The same gravitational weapons targeted the Vesh engines with surgical precision. Within minutes, 12 of the 16 Vesh warships were drifting, unable to maneuver. "They're launching fighters," the tactical officer reported. Hundreds of small Vesh attack craft poured from the larger ships, swarming toward the human fleet in desperation. "Deploy countermeasures," Ilara ordered. From the human destroyers, thousands of autonomous defense drones were released, small, fast units that intercepted the Vesh fighters with perfect coordination. They didn't destroy the alien craft. Instead, they attached themselves to the hulls and systematically disabled their control systems. Across the battlefield, Vesh fighters drifted powerless, their pilots trapped inside. On the inevitable conquest, Admiral Krell gripped his command console as his mighty fleet was systematically neutralized without a single ship being destroyed. This was impossible. Inconceivable. The humans were supposed to be technologically inferior. Not this. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, voice strained. "The human commander is hailing us again." Ilara's face appeared on the view screen. "Admiral Krell, your fleet has been neutralized without casualties. We don't wish to kill your crews. Power down your remaining weapons and prepare to be boarded. Krell's mandibles clicked in fury. This is not over, human. The Empire. The Empire has miscalculated. Ilara interrupted. Humanity has watched your conquests from afar. We've studied every battle, every technology you've employed against other species. While you saw us as primitive, we were preparing. This colony wasn't undefended, Admiral. It was bait. As she spoke, more spatial distortions appeared at the edge of the system. Hundreds more Terran vessels emerging from dimensional pockets, surrounding the Vesh fleet completely. For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Krell felt something unfamiliar settle in his thorax. Fear. He looked at the faces of his bridge crew, saw the same realization dawning in their eyes. They had walked into a trap centuries in the making. You have 2 minutes to comply, Commander Chen said calmly, or we will be forced to demonstrate what our weapons can do when we don't hold back. The galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson. Humanity hadn't just been hiding among the stars. They had been waiting. When Titans fall. Supreme Commander Zalvor of the Vesh Empire strode through the gleaming corridors of his flagship, the Imperial Ascendancy. At 12 feet tall, he towered over his officers, his exoskeleton enhanced with cybernetic implants that glowed with bioluminescent light. He had personally conquered 7 worlds for the Empire. Never had he been summoned to salvage another commander's failure. The subspace transmission from Admiral Krell had been brief, intercepted mid-sentence and followed by silence. Scans of the Helios system showed Krell's entire fleet disabled, surrounded by vessels of unknown configuration. Human vessels. Status report. Zalvor's voice echoed across the command center as he entered. Fleet Commander Vex approached, head bowed in deference. Supreme Commander, we are approaching the dimensional jump point to the Helios system. 3 battle groups, 47 capital ships, 126 support vessels. The most powerful armada assembled since the Duran campaign. And what do we know of these humans? Zalvor asked, spitting the word as if it were poison. Limited information. Supreme Commander, they appeared to possess technology that manipulates gravitational fields with unprecedented precision. Their vessels emerged from some form of dimensional pocket, technology we believe to be theoretical at best. The Imperial Science Directorate is concerned. Zalvor's compound eyes narrowed. The Science Directorate does not dictate military strategy. The humans caught Krell unprepared. We will not make the same mistake. He moved to the tactical display dominating the center of the bridge. The holographic projection showed their fleet in formation, weapons primed. All systems at full capacity. We launch our attack in 3 phases, Zalvor announced. First, long-range bombardment from outside their sensor range. Second, swarm tactics with our fighter squadrons to overwhelm their defenses. Third, the Ascendancy will deploy the entropy cannon. A hushed silence fell over the bridge. The entropy cannon was a planet killer, developed after decades of research, used only once before to crush the rebellion on Alteris Prime. Its use required direct authorization from the Emperor himself. Supreme Commander, Vex ventured carefully. The colony has 30,000 civilians. The Emperor's protocols for weapon of mass destruction require. The Emperor's protocols are clear, Zalvor interrupted. Any species that threatens Vesh dominance must be eliminated. These humans have revealed themselves as a genuine threat. We will make an example of them, one that the galaxy will remember for millennia. The massive Vesh armada accelerated toward the jump point, reality distorting around them as they prepared to enter the Helios system. On Earth, in the subterranean war room, Admiral Hassan studied the incoming reports with growing concern. The Helios defense had gone perfectly, better than they had dared hope. Commander Chen's force had neutralized the Vesh fleet without a single casualty on either side. But the victory had stirred the hornet's nest. Long-range sensors have confirmed it, the intelligence officer reported. The Vesh are sending their Supreme Commander with a fleet 3 times the size of the first wave. Hassan turned to the holographic display, showing the Terran Security Council, representatives from Earth and the 20 largest colony worlds, their faces grim on the massive screen. "This is what we prepared for," Hassan said. "The Vesh never retreat. We knew any confrontation would escalate to full-scale war." "What about evacuation?" asked the representative from Proxima Centauri. "No time," Hassan replied. "And running would only tell the Vesh their strategy works. Commander Chen's fleet is holding position. The deterrent has the situation under control." The Security Council president leaned forward. "Activate the Orpheus Protocol. All colonial defense grids to full alert, and send the diplomatic package to the Galactic Assembly." Hassan nodded. For decades, Earth had maintained a public facade of technological mediocrity while building its defenses in secret. Now the veil would be lifted, not just for the Vesh, but for all spacefaring civilizations. "What about the Krell situation?" another counselor asked. "The Vesh admiral and his officers are in custody. Commander Chen is treating them according to contact protocols. We're learning quite a bit from them already." In the Helios system, Commander Ilara Chen faced Admiral Krell across a simple metal table in the deterrent's diplomatic suite. The Vesh officer sat stiffly, his mandibles clicking occasionally, a sign of anxiety, according to xenobiology. "Your reinforcements are coming," Ilara said calmly, "led by your Supreme Commander Zolvor." Krell's compound eyes widened slightly. "How could you possibly?" "We've been monitoring your communications network for 15 years, Admiral. We know the Vesh response protocols. We know Zolvor's tactical preferences. We know about the entropy weapon." "Impossible," Krell whispered. "Our encryption was reverse-engineered from technology you seized from the Arcturians. We helped the Arcturians develop it originally." Ilara leaned forward. "Admiral, you're an experienced commander. You've seen our capabilities. What do you think will happen when Zolvor arrives?" Krell remained silent, internal calculations visibly racing behind his alien eyes. "We don't want to destroy your fleet," Ilara continued. "That's not our objective. But we will defend our people." "The Empire does not negotiate with lesser species," Krell replied automatically, but his voice lacked conviction. "Yet here we are." Ilara placed a datapad on the table between them. "This contains all the information we've gathered on your Empire's expansion, including evidence of war crimes on 17 worlds. We've already transmitted this data to the Galactic Assembly." Krell's exoskeleton seemed to pale. "The Assembly is toothless. They won't intervene. They won't need to. The evidence speaks for itself. Every species you've threatened or conquered will see it. The galactic community will know what the Vesh Empire truly is." A lieutenant entered the room, saluting sharply. "Commander, the Vesh reinforcements have arrived. They're deploying in attack formation." Ilara stood. "Return Admiral Krell to secure quarters. Then prepare for Phase 3. The Imperial Ascendancy emerged from the jump point at the head of the massive Vesh fleet, weapon systems already powering up. On the bridge, Supreme Commander Zolvor took in the tactical situation with cold calculation. 17 human vessels surrounding our disabled fleet, he observed. Curious design. No apparent weapons emplacements, and yet they neutralized Krell's entire force. "Orders, Supreme Commander," Vex asked. "Begin long-range bombardment. Target their largest vessel first." The Vesh warships unleashed a devastating barrage. Plasma torpedoes and quantum disruptors designed to overwhelm any known shielding system. The energy expended could have leveled continents. But the human vessels remained untouched. Their gravitational deflection fields, now operating at full capacity, curved space itself around them, redirecting the enormous energies harmlessly into the void. "No effect," the weapons officer reported, voice tinged with disbelief. "Impossible," Zolvor hissed. "Launch all fighter squadrons. Saturate their defenses." Thousands of Vesh attack craft poured from the carrier vessels, swarming toward the human fleet like a metallic tide. But as they approached, new anomalies appeared around the Terran ships, small spatial distortions that seemed to blink in and out of existence. One by one, then in groups, the Vesh fighters vanished, pulled into what looked like miniature wormholes that closed as quickly as they opened. "What is happening?" Zalvor demanded, his composure cracking. They're redirecting our fighters into some kind of pocket dimension," the science officer stammered. "The same technology they used to hide their fleet." Zalvor's fists clenched. "Prepare the entropy cannon. Target their flagship." "But Supreme Commander, the weapon has never been tested at this range," Vex protested. "The energy discharge could damage our own vessels." "Do it," Zalvor commanded. Now, the Imperial Ascendancy's hull plates shifted, revealing the massive barrel of the superweapon, a device capable of unraveling the atomic bonds of matter itself. Energy built up as the weapon charged, reality distorting around its muzzle. Aboard the deterrent, Ilara watched the entropy cannon's activation with calm expectation. "They're proceeding exactly as intelligence predicted," her tactical officer noted. "The Vesh doctrine never changes. When conventional tactics fail, they escalate to maximum force." Ilara tapped her command console. "Activate Prometheus." Throughout the human fleet, a specialized system came online, the culmination of Earth's most advanced research into quantum field manipulation. As the entropy cannon fired, unleashing a beam of destruction that should have annihilated the deterrent instantly, something unprecedented happened. The energy was caught, contained within a rapidly expanding bubble of altered spacetime that the human vessels had generated between themselves. Within this containment field, the entropy weapon's output was not just neutralized but redirected, folding back on itself in a cascading loop. On the Ascendancy's bridge, alarms blared. "Energy feedback detected." The weapons officer shouted. "The entropy discharge. It's reflecting back toward us." "Impossible." Zalvor roared. "Shut it down. Shut it down now." But it was too late. The entropy cannon, designed to deliver destruction without possibility of defense, had become a liability. As the energy backlash reached the Ascendancy, systems throughout the massive flagship began to fail. Lights flickered. Gravity wavered. The mighty vessel shuddered as if wounded. Throughout the Vesh fleet, commanders watched in horror as their supreme commander's unstoppable weapon was turned against him. Not with violence, but with elegant, precise technology beyond anything they had encountered. A transmission cut through their communications network, bypassing all security protocols. "This is Commander Ilara Chen of the Terran Confederation. Your entropy weapon has been neutralized. Your fighters have been contained. Your Supreme Commander's flagship is disabled. We have not fired a single offensive shot." On screens throughout the Vesh fleet, images appeared, recordings from 100 worlds showing Vesh conquest, subjugation, exploitation. Alongside them, documentation, testimony, evidence compiled over decades. These records have now been transmitted to every spacefaring civilization and the Galactic Assembly. Ilara continued. "Your empire's methods are now known to all. You have a choice. Withdraw from human space permanently, or we will be forced to demonstrate what our weapons can actually do when deployed offensively." On the crippled Ascendancy, Supreme Commander Zalvor stared at the human vessels with hatred and, for the first time in his life, fear. The humans had not just defeated them technologically, they had outmaneuvered them strategically, diplomatically, and informationally. It was a defeat so complete that it threatened the very foundation of the Empire. "Supreme Commander," Vex said quietly, "we must withdraw. We cannot win this fight." "The Empire does not retreat," Zalvor growled, but his words rang hollow even to himself. "The Empire has never faced an enemy like this," Vex replied. "They could have destroyed us. They chose not to. That alone tells us everything we need to know about their capabilities." Around them, emergency systems struggled to maintain life support as the flagship's power grid fluctuated. Throughout the fleet, captains awaited orders, uncertainty spreading like a virus. After what seemed an eternity, Zolvor gave the order that would change galactic history. All vessels, disengage. Set course for Vesh Prime. 1 month later, Commander Ilara Chen stood before the Galactic Assembly, the first human ever invited to address the gathered representatives of 87 spacefaring civilizations. Behind her, Admiral Hassan and a small delegation from Earth watched with quiet pride. For generations, humanity chose to hide its true capabilities, Ilara began. Not out of fear, but out of hope that we would never need to reveal them. We watched as the Vesh Empire expanded, conquering and subjugating. We gathered evidence. We prepared. The massive chamber was silent, representatives from across the galaxy listening with rapt attention. The Terran Confederation does not seek to replace one empire with another. We have no territorial ambitions beyond our existing colonies. What we seek is a galaxy where technological advancement serves cooperation rather than conquest. She gestured to the holographic display, showing the now public specs of Earth's dimensional pocket technology and gravitational manipulation systems. These technologies were developed for peaceful purposes: sustainable energy, environmental restoration, medical applications. Their military potential was a secondary consideration, one we hoped never to employ. The Arcturian representative rose, their crystalline form shimmering under the chamber's lights. Yet you kept these advancements secret for decades. How can we trust a species that has deceived the galaxy for so long? Ilara nodded in acknowledgement. A fair question. Our secrecy was born from history, both our own bloody past and what we observed of interspecies relations. Earth, unified only after centuries of warfare, taught us the cost of aggression. When we reached the stars and saw the Vesh Empire's methods, we made a choice: to build our strength in silence until it was needed. She paused, looking across the chamber. But secrecy is no longer necessary. Today, we offer to share our technologies with all peaceful civilizations, beginning with dimensional storage systems for sustainable planetary development and gravitational medical equipment for species whose physiology is damaged by conventional treatments. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Technology sharing of this magnitude between species was unprecedented. As for the Vesh Empire, Ilara continued, we have established a demilitarized zone between our territories. Their leadership has agreed to cease all expansionist activities, pending a full review by this assembly's Ethics Council. What she didn't mention was the quiet exodus already happening within the Empire, subject worlds slipping free of Vesh control as the balance of power shifted overnight. The collapse had begun not with violence, but with the simple revelation that the invincible could be defeated. Humanity stands ready to join this assembly as full members, not as conquerors or saviors, but as partners in building a more just and peaceful galaxy. As the chamber erupted in discussion, Admiral Hassan approached Ilara at the podium. They're already calling it the Helios turning point, he said quietly. The day the galaxy changed. Ilara nodded, watching as representatives from a dozen worlds lined up to speak with the human delegation. Project Sentinel achieved its objective, she replied. Peace through preparedness. And now? Hassan asked. Ilara looked out at the assembly. Former enemies and new allies, species that had feared humans, and those that had dismissed them, all reassessing their understanding of the cosmic order. Now comes the hard part, she said, building something better than the peace of empires, something that lasts. In the vast depths of space, the Terran fleet remained vigilant. The Deterrent and her sister ships patrolled human territories, their true capabilities now known to all. But they were changing too, from hidden guardians to visible peacekeepers. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity had emerged from the shadows not to conquer, but to protect. Not to dominate, but to elevate. The species that had once been dismissed as primitive had revealed itself to be something unprecedented, a civilization that had learned from history rather